Party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me. All right, kids, they did it. The WWE, those crazy bastards, they did it. Nick Khan, when asked about this change with WWE now going to ESPN and all the shenanigans surrounding that, will the subs follow? By the way, how can we stop right here on the third word? Will the subs pause on the subs, pause on the subs. Don't call me subs. Pause on the subs. Pause on the subs. Pause. I mean, unless you are a sub, there's no kink shaming here. But we're not all subs, Nick. We're not. I know. I feel like this is just right here. This might be some subconscious thinking of how the corporate billionaires see the customers. They're subs. They're subhuman. They're subservient. They're below us. They're submissive to us. Huh? So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Process that along with your hair. The subs. Will the subs? Maybe he's talking about subscribers. Maybe. Will the subs follow the product to whatever that new platform is? I think we've demonstrated to Peacock our subs will follow. God, the subs will follow. The subs will follow. Will follow. See, submissive, subservient, will follow. They certainly all followed from the WWE network. Nick, we didn't have a choice. You dismantled the WWE network, and when people were like, fine, I'll just get a VPN and access it from a different country, you dismantled all over the world. You threw away the WWE network all over the world. One of the few halfway decent performing platforms you threw away all over the world for Peacock, which up until last week didn't have a good functioning rewind function. Great library overall, but terrible actual user interface on the freaking platform. Unless you just press play and get out, that's all you can do. And sometimes, not even that. Because there are definitely certain things I've tried to watch on Peacock that said they were available, that every time I tried to watch it, crashed the app. Crashed the app. Every time I tried to watch the Gary Coleman documentary, crashed the app. Every time I tried to watch the SummerSlam with the Hart Foundation versus Demolition, it crashed the app. There are a couple other things I tried to watch on WWE through the Peacock too. Just crashed it. Just wouldn't, refused to work. Let's continue. Followed from the WWE network, and that expanded that subscribership extensively with Peacock. Did it really? I already had Peacock. I had Peacock from the beginning because I figured that their library would be great, and overall it was. There's some stuff that probably could have been added, and I think they ended up adding it later, but overall it was good. But again, even then, terrible interface. It's always had a terrible user interface. Peacock has always been terrible in terms of, and at the time I said, you know what, Peacock should be more like WWE. WWE Network worked most of the time. There are a couple of times where there were, again, it is always somebody updating something to try to justify their jobs. There was always something that happened. There was usually an update or two with WWE Network that somebody tried to justify that screwed something up. But it got fixed. It usually got fixed eventually. WWE Network was better. But okay. From WWE Network and expanded that subscribership extensively with Peacock. And there's obviously other product at Peacock to watch, which our fans who subscribe primarily for us were able to... Wrong! Again, these corporate people have no idea what the real world is. They get in these beige offices and they have no idea what the real world is like, and has no idea what customers want or what customers like. They can give a damn about what customers want, matter of fact, it almost seems like they hate customers. No. We had Peacock before. I think if people expanded to get Peacock more, it probably had very little to do with WWE and had more to do with just getting Peacock. Like, terrible. Anyway, and or The Office, because they shifted over. And there's obviously other product at Peacock to watch, which our fans primarily subscribe to or are able to sample. Same will be the case with ESPN. Also no, Nick. Also no. There's not the crossover. There's some fans who like WWE and who like other sports. Sure, that happens all the time. And there's people who like other sports and like WWE. Sure. Not so much. And especially with that pricing structure, the new pricing structure that's come out with pay-per-views are now this much, and these are now this much, and this other show is now this much, plus the bundle and all this other stuff. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. What will probably do it for ESPN is if they get some sort of simplest, because I think they just bought up NFL Red Zone, right? So that'll probably do it. That'll probably expand it. But probably not. Actually, Nick, probably not. And probably what'll happen is because Disney owns everything and owns ESPN and all other stuff, they'll consolidate it and stuff, just like they're closing Hulu now. They'll consolidate it just so they can boost up their numbers for shareholders and say, our numbers are great now because we bought all the competition and screwed the numbers around to make the numbers look great and put it in this individual record. You know, everything looks great now this quarter. What about next quarter? This quarter. What about next year? This quarter. This quarter. What about last quarter? This quarter. It's really kind of stupid. Like the whole system with these billionaires in these offices that only think about the current quarter and nothing else really is just stupid. It really is. It's really short-sighted. It's really stupid. And then stuff happens. They end up losing money. You know, you see all these different things collapse underneath them, and then like, what happened? Like Hollywood doing all these, especially Hollywood's one of the biggest things where they're over budgeting their movies. What happened? We're telling you what happened. But you're not listening to the average person. You just want to listen to the other schmuck in the boardroom who's just a yes man anyway. So you got Nick Khan, you got Triple H, and you got Stephanie McMahon. Three people who are, I'm sure, only surrounded by yes people. They are only surrounded by sycophants. There's no Mac Mittens. There's nobody in that boardroom to tell them anything other than what they want to hear. Not the truth, what they want to hear. If anybody told Nick Khan, Nick Khan ran this by any average person, he would say, that sounds like a terrible idea. That is awful for the consumer. That sounds awful and will probably chase quite a few people away. But Nick Khan doesn't listen to average people. Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H listen to their yes man sycophants. And that's not just them. That's any and everybody in a position of power, middle management and above, usually. You might get a couple of managers that don't. But generally speaking, middle management and above, especially at that level, yes, Mr. McMahon. How hot do you want your coffee, Mr. McMahon? This is stupid. This is terrible. But they're gonna do what they're gonna do, because next quarter, and that's fine. I don't have anything else to say about this at all, or to Nick Khan, or to Triple H, or to Stephanie. I don't have anything at all to say to them. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Oh, it's a pie.